Hi, welcome to edsguitarlessons.com. Just want to finish up a three-part series on music theory, just some basic stuff, the fundamentals of it, of understanding notes, the major scale, chords, and today we're going to finish up with chord harmonization of the major scale. In other words, what chords go together after you make them. So we really started from a chord, a note. Then we developed the major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, di, da. Okay. Then out of the major scale, we developed a chord. So we harmonized the major scale, and we found a major chord, a 1, 3, and a 5. And from that, we've developed all the chords that we have to this present day in Western music. We know that if we wanted to make it a 7th, we added a 7th or a 6th. We didn't even talk about that last time. And if we kept going on, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm writing sideways, C, D, E, F, G, and then A. If you wanted to make a 9th, you added a 9th. If you wanted to make a 11th or a 13th, you added those notes that are basically part of the major scale. If you notice, C, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Okay? B, C, D, E, F, G, A. That's how far we've gone, is to get a 13th note chord. Okay? And we found that 2s and 9s are the same. You got a 2, which is a D, and a 9th. So if you're going to make a 9th, the second note is D in this particular case that we're discussing, the C major scale, but it's true with anything. The second note will be, it's either represented numerically as a 2 or a 9. Okay? And then the 6th and the 13th are the same. Okay? And so we see that those notes are the same. And the 4 and 11, that's the one I skipped. I don't know why I did, but I did. Okay, so the 4 and the 11. So the 4 and the 11, and the 6th and the 13th, they're the same. So you don't have to count all the way out to 13 to figure out what the 13th note is. It's the 6th note of the major scale. Okay, so it's an A here, it's 13, A there. 4 and 11 is an F, 11 is an F. That is a funny looking F, sorry. Okay, and then a 2 and a 9, a D and a D. So you don't have to count all the way to 9 to figure out what the 9th note is. You just kind of remember this little formula. So we discussed that. We talked about the major, this is a major chord, okay, and to make it minor we flatten the 3rd. We talked about that. We talked about augmented, which was a sharpened 5th, and we talked about diminished, which was a flattened 3rd and a flattened 5th. So this all comes from the major scale. There's not some other scale involved, it's the major scale of any key. Okay, so now that we got chords, and we figured that we stack thirds, okay? So we stack thirds to get the, if this was the, if we had a, a musical staff, like this one here, okay, that shows us, a C, middle C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and then G, and then A is that last circle up there. I don't know, does this always run the risk of not looking to see what's on the board? Okay, so if we stack thirds, 1, 3, 5, we get a C major chord, 1, 3, 5. Okay, so, and we figured that they harmonized well together and it worked really well. Everybody's happy, okay, with a C major chord. But and so, we got the 1, 3, 5 there. What happens if we stack thirds on everything? Okay, We just stack thirds on all the notes of the major scale. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. Okay? Well, what ends up happening is, this just happens mathematically. It happens, logically. It's not something somebody designed. That when you do stack thirds, that you end up with certain types of chords. Okay? So if you stacked up in this key, okay, starting with the note C, you stack up these notes, C, E, and G, and you get a C chord. When you stack up a D, okay, it's a little different. Did that show up? Doggone it, I'm sorry. When you stack a D, you got a D, then you skip a note, and then you got an F, you skip a note, and then you got a B. So you got a D, F, and a A, excuse me. Okay? So what does a D, F, and an A, what chord does that represent? Okay? So if this is a D, this is an F, and this is an A, what tonality does that make? What chord is played? Is that a D major? Is it a D7? Of course, it can't be a 7 because we don't have an extra note. We know it's a triad there, so it's going to be either a major or minor chord. So what does a D, F, and an A bring you? It is basically a D minor. It's a minor chord. This is C major. And just to make it simple, just know that this is a truism, okay? That basically, and this happens in any key wherever we start. If we just start D here or A here or B, here, it don't matter, the truism occurs up here. That when you stack thirds on top of any major scale, the first chord is going to be a major chord. The second chord will always be minor. It's just a rule. It just happens, okay, when you start stacking them, okay? And the next one's E minor. It's a minor. All right? And then you got an F. It's going to be major. What the? It's not even a minor. That was, okay. That's supposed to be a capital, lowercase. Just in case you didn't get it. Okay, F, and then G. G is going to be major. And this is going to be A, B, C, D, F, G, C, D, E, F, G, and then A, B, and C. Okay, and so this is going to be, these are majors. Okay, let me make it a little better. So major, minor, minor, major, major, and this is minor, and this one's a diminished, okay, which is symbolized a lot of times by just a little degree sign, a little circle, or it could be D-I-M. Okay, then we're back to the octave here. So that's the rule. I mean, if you can look at it, it's just basically these are going to be major, major, and this one's minor. Okay, A minor. Okay, and that's called a relative minor, by the way. It's 6 notes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so in music theory, the chords that we hear that are familiar to us, that we like, that sound really good in Western music are based off the major scale, stacking thirds, and then they end up being a major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then the octave, okay? And that's the rule. That's how it, no matter where we start here, whatever letter we start, we write out the sequential alphabet of whatever letter, note that we started with, and you start stacking thirds on them, it's going to be a we're talking about the major, harmonized major scale. It's going to be a major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and octave. Okay, that's just how it is. Okay, And what we're saying here, what does all this mean? It means that in the key of C, all these chords go together. So say for instance you wrote a song and the first chord is C and you happened upon an E minor and you thought, oh, those two go together good. But you're wondering, what other chords could I use that would harmonize well with that in this particular key? I found two of them. Well, this gives you what it is. Okay, you can play a D minor will sound good, an F major, a G major, an A minor, a B diminished, or again, you know, there's the C. And a real popular progression in, you know, the major scale harmonization. Okay, boy, that is so bad, but you understand what I'm saying, okay? That any chord will go, but a real popular progression that is in a lot of music where you can start with is a 1-4-5. A 1, a 4, and a 5. Real common, Louie Louie, Twist and Shout. There's a lot of songs that contain in it the blues, you know. A 1-4-5 is a 1-4-5 progression. A lot of them are. A lot of the old blues. Okay. In other words, they take the 1, which is a C, a 4, which is an F, and a 5, which is a G. Okay. So 1-4-5. We'll get back to the numbers, the importance of numbers again in the major scale, in numbering them. So that's a good place to start. A 1, a 4, and a 5. Okay. Then you want to add a chorus. You can add a D minor, an E minor, an A minor, B diminished. You want to add a bridge. In whatever order you want. Music is, you know, subjective to your thoughts, your feelings, your emotion that you're trying to present. Okay. So, recapping, we started with a note. We made it into a chord. We found out all kinds of different chords you can make. We stacked thirds upon it to make the chord. If we do it to all the chords of a particular major scale and stack thirds on it, they become different types of chords. It's a rule that they will always be this when we stack thirds. It'll always be minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and octave. It just is that way when you stack thirds. No matter what letter we start with, or I should say key, you know, because you can do a D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and if you put a D there and stack thirds, it's going to be major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, and diminished. Okay, and so that's basically how music works. It started with a note. Then it went in Western music to a major scale, do, re, mi scale, and then it went into harmonizing those notes by stacking thirds. We like it, we love it, we want more of it, okay? And then it went to, you know, those stacking of thirds became chords. They are chords, you know, when you stack three, it's a triad, it's a chord. And the nature of each of those chords, when we stack them in order of the major scale, are major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminish, and boom. Okay, and those are all the chords that you can play that sound good together in a particular key. Okay, in this instance, this example, it's the key of C, but this works for all 12 keys. It don't matter where we start. It don't matter if it's a sharp or flat. Okay, this principle, this system works. I mean, that's how it is. It's just a mathematical thing that occurs because of the nature of chords and the nature and structure of the harmonized major scale. So I hope that helps you. When I teach my students this, they learn, of course, it's not as sloppy as this because I'm writing sideways. But what they learn is that, you know, this is how music is made. These are how songs are written. You know, it started with a note, blah, blah, blah. But then I teach them what scales go good together with each key. Because you got 12 keys, okay? So there's certain scales that work and there's certain scales that don't work, and there's a lot of room for experimentation. There's a lot of room for expression. There's a lot of room to go outside the box. This is kind of the basis of music, but people go outside of the box. They change keys in the middle of a song. You know, they start off on the key of C, then they go to the key of F, or they go to the key of D, you know, or whatever. So they can you can change keys. There's a lot of things you can do. It's like painting. It's art, okay, for the ears. You know what painting is for, and you know, drawing is for the visual. Music is the art for the ears, and that's why it can vary. That's why it can go outside the box. That's why there's abstract art, and that's why there's groups like Nirvana that really changed everything. You know, their chord structures, because they went outside the box. But it was cool, and you know, it was a different sound. But it has its basis. All music has it, in Western music, has its origins from what we just discussed. And I hope that helps you. The next thing we would discuss would be, what scales can I play? You know, when we're in a certain key, what scales will work? And there's a couple of rules and things that I use to teach my students that, so that they can understand how to solo and or develop a solo over a particular piece of music that they wrote. So I hope that helps. Thanks for watching edsguitarlessons.com. God bless you. I hope my head didn't show up in this, because I haven't combed my hair. Have a great day. God bless. Bye.